What is money? At first sight, the answer to this question seems obvious. The man or woman in the street would agree on coins and banknotes. But would they accept them from any country? What about checks? They would probably be less willing to accept them than their own country's coins and notes. But bank money, i.e., anything for which you can write a check, actually accounts for by far the greatest proportion by value of the total supply of money. What about IOUs, credit cards, and gold? The gold standard belongs to history. But even today, many rich people in different parts of the world would rather keep some of their wealth in the form of gold than in official, inflation-prone currencies. The attractiveness of gold, from an aesthetic point of view, and its resistance to corrosion are two of the properties which led to its use for monetary transactions for thousands of years. In complete contrast, a form of money with virtually no tangible properties whatsoever, electronic money, seems set to gain rapidly in popularity. All sorts of things have been used as money at different times in different places. The alphabetical list below, taken from page 27 of A History of Money by Glenn Davis, includes but a minute proportion of the enormous variety of primitive monies, and none of the modern forms: amber, beads, cowries, drums, eggs, feathers, gongs, hose, ivory, jade, kettles, leather, mats, nails, oxen, pigs, quartz, rice, salt, thimbles, umiaks, vodka, wampum, yarns, and zappos. It is almost impossible to define money in terms of its physical form or properties, since these are so diverse. Therefore, any definition must be based on its functions. Theories of money: sometimes you run across a grimy, tattered dollar bill that seems like it's been around since the beginning of time. Assuredly, it hasn't. But the history of human beings using cash currency does go back a long time, 40,000 years. Scientists have tracked exchange and trade through the archaeological record, starting in the Upper Paleolithic, when groups of hunters traded for the best flint weapons and other tools. First, people bartered, making direct deals between two parties of desirable objects. Money came a bit later. Its form has evolved over the millennia, from natural objects to coins to paper to digital versions. But whatever the format, human beings have long used currency as a means of exchange, a method of payment, a standard of value, a store of wealth, and a unit of account. Why do people need currency? There are many theories about the origin of money. In part because money has many functions. It facilitates exchange as a measure of value. It brings diverse societies together by enabling gift giving and reciprocity. It perpetuates social hierarchies. And finally, it is a medium of state power. It's hard to accurately date interactions involving currency of various kinds, but evidence suggests they emerged from gift exchanges and debt repayments. Objects that occurred rarely in nature, and whose circulation could be efficiently controlled, emerged as units of value for interactions and exchange. These included shells, such as mother of pearl, that were widely circulated in the Americas, and cowrie shells that were used in Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. Native copper, meteorites, or native iron, obsidian, ember, beads, copper, gold, silver, and lead ingots have variously served as currency. People even used live animals such as cows until relatively recent times as a form of currency. The Mesopotamian shekel, the first known form of currency, emerged nearly 5,000 years ago. The earliest known mints date to 650 and 600 BC in Asia Minor, where the elites of Lydia and Ionia used stamped silver and gold coins to pay armies. The discovery of hoards of coins of lead, copper, silver, and gold all over the globe suggests that coinage, especially in Europe, Asia, and North Africa, was recognized as a medium of commodity money at the beginning of the first millennium AD. The wide circulation of Roman, Islamic, Indian, and Chinese coins points to pre-modern commerce. Coinage as commodity money owes its success largely to its portability, durability, transportability, and inherent value. Additionally, political leaders could control the production of coins from mining, smelting, minting, as well as their circulation and use. Other forms of wealth and money, such as cows, successfully served pastoral societies, but weren't easy to transport and, of course, were susceptible to ecological disasters. Money soon became an instrument of political control. Taxes could be extracted to support the elite, and armies could be raised. However, Money could also act as a stabilizing force that fostered nonviolent exchanges of goods, information, and services within and between groups. Throughout history, money has acted as a record, a memory of transactions and interactions. For instance, medieval Europeans widely used tally sticks as evidence for remembering debt. Follow the money to see the trade routes in the past. As today, no society was completely self-sustaining, and money allowed people to interact with other groups. People used different forms of currency to mobilize resources, reduce risks, and create alliances and friendships in response to specific social and political conditions. The abundance and nearly universal evidence of movement of exotic goods over diverse regions inhabited by people who were independent of each other, from hunter-gatherers to pastoralists to farmers and city dwellers, points to the significance of currency as a uniting principle. It's like a common language everyone could speak. For example, Americans who lived in the early formative period dating from 1450 to 500 BC used obsidian, mother-of-pearl shell, iron ore, and two kinds of pottery as currency to trade across the Americas. In one of the earliest examples of a successful global trade, the maritime Silk Road trade, which occurred between AD 700 to 1450, connected Europeans, Asians, and Africans in a global trade that was both transformational and foundational. As the history of money has shown, currency's impact is double-edged. It enabled the movement of goods and services, migration and settlement amongst strangers. It brought wealth to some, while hastening the development of socioeconomic and other distinctions. The same patterns unfold today with the modern relationship between China and Africa, now more intertwined and unequal than when Admiral Zheng first brought coins from China in a diplomatic gesture, as a symbolic extension of friendship across the distance separating the two. In our time, possession of cash currency differentiates the rich from the poor, the developed from the developing, the global north from the emerging global south. Money is both personal and impersonal, and global inequality today is linked to the formalization of money as a measure of societal well-being and sustainability. Even as currency continues to evolve in our digital age, its uses today would still be familiar to our ancient predecessors. Money supply in macroeconomics. The money supply refers to the total volume of money held by the public at a particular point in time in an economy. There are several ways to define money, but standard measures usually include currency in circulation and demand deposits. The central bank of each country may use a definition of what constitutes money for its purposes. Money supply data is recorded and published, usually by the government or the central bank of the country. Public and private sector analysts monitor changes in the money supply because of the belief that such changes affect the price levels of securities, inflation, the exchange rates, and the business cycle. The relationship between money and prices has historically been associated with the quantity theory of money. There is strong empirical evidence of a direct relationship between the growth of the money supply and long-term price inflation, at least for rapid increases in the amount of money in the economy. For example, a country such as Zimbabwe, which saw extremely rapid increases in its money supply, also saw extremely rapid increases in prices. This is one reason for the reliance on monetary policy as a means of controlling inflation.